What's going on, folks? Josh with the Everything Paranormal Show, and joining me tonight on a delay is my good friend and paranormal expert Bob Fountain, aka the Crypt Keeper. Bob, welcome to the show. We've had to kind of jump through some technical hoops, so folks, hopefully you can hear them. Hopefully you can hear us. So, Bob, how are you doing?
I told you I look bad on video.
Well,
put my glasses on, I can see what I'm doing here. Here, that better?
That's better.
You know, if you think about this, go back in life and think of the worst possible ideas you ever had. And now think that they're not the worst anymore.
Right? Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure it was the worst.
So, folks, sorry for the delay. I hope you guys are tuning in. I see some of you guys are out there. I see you see me, Stacy, or Tata Longo. So, and Terry Lynn, of course. And folks, keep Terry Lynn's still a little sick, but she's coming around. So she's doing a lot better. Keep the prayers coming. Keep the good wishes coming. But Bob, I am excited to have you on the show. We had that half-hour delay for some technicality. So, folks, just to let you know, for some reason we were having some kind of audio problems. So Bob literally is on speakerphone and going through my microphone and through Skype, and we're share screening the Skype. It's weird. I don't know, guys, but we got it to work. So
I think that's an omen, isn't it?
Nah, no, it's called overachieving, man. We're just overachieving. That's all. So
I got a whole wall full of pictures about that.
So I see you see me. She says hi, Bob. Yeah, normally you guys are all chat buddies. Now you get to see them. So
yeah, Dan's a chat buddy thing.
Hey, so let me ask you: can you guys hear him good when he talks?
Hey, is this a no smoking show?
I don't. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. You can smoke away, Bob.
Nah, that's okay. So what are we doing tonight?
Well, what are we doing tonight? We're just gonna talk, I guess. We're gonna talk about. I would like to go back to some basics and I'd like to really talk about some basics tonight. Just some good old fashioned basics.
Are you there?
I'm here. Are you typing or something? You're like making all this noise now.
Yeah,
see, that's part of that audio now. Now that Bob's got a speakerphone, he's got but every time he goes to type, it's going to be like.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what happens on your recorders when you're out doing investigations,
right?
One of my best investigators right now, when she started out, she had a tape recorder in her hand and like about 15 metal bracelets on her wrist. It almost killed me going back to the tapes because all I could hear is that clanging. You know how a tape recorder, how much it amplifies those sounds.
Right.
It was horrible. So.
Oh my God, I know. I hate when I do things like that too. Like I don't even always think about it, but sometimes I have the recorder and I'll forget and I kind of shuffle it around my pocket or something, stick in my pocket or. But one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is, the afterlife. I thought it'd be kind of nice just to talk about the afterlife a little bit, and what is the afterlife? There's a lot of speculation, right? Depending on your views, but for the most part, I mean, what do you think about the afterlife? What are your take on it?
Well, basically, I'm an ordained metaphysical minister, and what that means basically, we don't care about dogma. If you want to eat meat on Friday, go ahead and eat it. If you want to have a beer, have one. But all we deal with is the soul. Where did it come from? Why is it here? When does it go back? And basically, one of the main beliefs is your consciousness doesn't reside in your body; it resides outside of it and uses the brain as a receiver to do what you want with this body. So when you die, all that's left is that intelligent energy, which is your soul. And it's not restricted by time or space or anything else. It can move around wherever it wants, whenever it wants. And I know there's a lot of discussion about heaven and hell, but there's a lot of people that believe that you create your own hell because you judge yourself. But yeah, I think there's an afterlife. There's too many studies. In fact, right now I'm reading a book, A Lawyer's Case for the Afterlife. And basically, he's trying to present the case for the afterlife like he would in a trial. Right. It's very, very compelling the way he's doing it.
Well, that's pretty much how it feels like for us. I think sometimes that it always feels like we're on trial and we're trying to present our evidence and trying to get people to, see our point and to say we're not guilty. I don't know, but no.
Well, how many cases have you ran across where you've got feedback from an entity so they didn't cross over because they're afraid to be judged?
Right.
They're terrified to go because if you were brought up in a certain religion, depending on which religion it is, that depends on whether it's a sin, you're going to go to hell over it. So if you're brought up that way, right up to the day you die, all of a sudden you feel that pull to go back to where you need to be with your creator. You don't want to go because you know immediately you're going to hell based on the tenets you believed in all throughout your life.
Right.
So what I try to tell spirits more than once is if God was a loving God, he created us to experience life. He knows we're going to screw up. So why would he put us here knowing we're going to screw up and then punish us for eternity because we did? I think we're here for the experiences we need to learn to basically love and care for each other.
Yeah, that's always a good.
Back to the happy place.
There's nothing that sounds wrong with that. I mean, as far as in general, it's a good sentiment. It really is. I've often thought, based on a lot of the stories and some of the different cases, there does seem to be a light, and maybe not everybody sees it. Maybe not everybody, but there does seem to be some kind of light at some point. Whether or not people go into it, it seems to me, and again, I'm just trying to look at, when you look at the majority of the cases, and I try to look for the truth in the middle, it seems as almost there is a gravity to this light. So I would imagine once you cross over, once your energy leaves your body and you're in this afterlife for a second, of course, you're not physical anymore. So you're not going to move the same. You have no physical vocal cords, you have no physical body. So moving is going to be different. Thinking is going to be a little different. But I would say that it seems as if from the stories of the NDEs, the near-death experiences, and I want to do a show one day just on that, but it seems as if a lot of people talk about almost being pulled to the light, like there's some kind of natural gravity to the light. So I wonder if, yes, like some of those people that are afraid, that there is enough time as they're being pulled to the light that they're able to resist and kind of mentally use and push their energy away from the light. And that might be where they get trapped as ghosts for a while.
Well, the thing is even the Bible, I do believe, I haven't read it in a couple of years, but God gave every soul free will. They can do what they want to do. One of my cases that we had last year, a lady committed suicide in a parking lot of a Walmart in Millington, Tennessee. And her boyfriend, she moved in with him. They got a big fight. She left. He wanted to reconcile with her. She overdosed, and she's still with him. One of the things we asked was, can you see a light? Because we was going to try to help her cross over. And she said she could. Using the EMF detectors, you can get good yes and no answers.
Right.
And we asked her if she could see the light, and she said yes. And we asked her, do you want to go to the light? We didn't get an answer. And then when we asked her in a positive way, light it up if you don't want to go to the light, it lit up again. So she's very well aware of what was out there and how she could cross over. She elected to stay with the person she was still in love with, even though he's alive and she's dead.
Right.
We tried to tell him at some point she's going to get tired of doing that, and she might move on when she sees the light, so to speak. But there wasn't nothing we could do about it. She didn't want to cross. She didn't want to cross. You don't want to use the archangels or some of that stuff to force her to leave. So we just left it the way it was.
Yeah.
She's not doing anything negative. She just likes to be close to him.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I was thinking like, and I See You See Me brings up a point where, she said that I'm almost sure we get a guide too. And the thing that I want to bring up about that is one thing when I was doing research for my book and I was, researching some of the deaths, people, like some of the stories of people that were getting ready to pass on, people, and then of course near death experiences. And it seems as if when people are in a sudden tragedy and they die, it seems as if they're a little more alone until there's a light. Some people have gone through this light and was sent back to earth. Some people were sort of out above themselves. They hadn't quite gone into the light. They sort of stayed away from it and of course came back. But it seems as if there was a lot of stories of people that passed on naturally when there was time to prepare, and they started seeing relatives. They started seeing almost like angels, and I really think that when there is a natural death, a planned death in that sense, I do think yes, there's relatives that show up. I think it's definitely they come to help guide them into the light to make sure that they don't get lost in between that crucial moment of as they enter the afterlife, to make sure that they are guided into the light. So I do believe that.
My grandmother, she was 92, I believe, when she died. She was in a nursing home. I still lived up north at the time, and 2 or 3 days before she died, she'd say she had a wonderful night because her husband, his name was Dewey, he was coming there to talk to her, and he was going to help her when it was her time. I mean, she just matter of fact said, he's here to help me go where I need to go. And she said she's talking to him every night. And a couple of days later, she finally died. So, yeah, I thoroughly believe it. Spirit guides, they're here to help and watch over you. Because I don't think once you die, they hang around anymore. They're probably assigned to you, and they can't wait for some people to die so they can move on to somebody pleasant. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, how would you like to be the spirit guide for Adolf Hitler?
Oh my God.
That would, it's like, oh no, he did what? So the spirit guides, I don't think I want to be one of them when I cross over and I get assigned a job on that side.
Right.
By the way, don't you have to take time? Me being a current guest, but a long time listener, don't you need to look over and chat now and find out if people's got questions?
Well, I've been keeping an eye on things, Bob. Justin from Visually Creep popped in. Hey, it's good to see you again. Haven't talked to you in a while, my friend. And of course, Stacy, they're kind of talking amongst themselves a little bit like you guys do in chat often. But other than that, I mean, I think again, that's where, like I said, I See You See Me is contributing to some of the chat and Tata. So,
it's hard for me when I'm out there in the chat room is, I got that Parkinson's disease, which kind of sucks. Trying to type when your fingers are shaking, just about every word I got to go back and redo it because I'll put like 5 letters in because my hand's going up and down. So it takes me a lot to type stuff in the chat room. So you'll be sitting there discussing some topic. I think it's something I really want to ask you. And heck, it takes me 5 minutes to get the question out there, and you're already off on some other topic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see. But other than that, let's see. We'll also look here. But yeah, the chat. A lot of people are saying that. Oh yeah, Terry Lynn did say. She said that in the height of my illness, a couple times I felt like I was beside my body. It was weird, hard to explain. Didn't feel right at all. Very high fever. And then that's what Stacy was saying, that yeah, OBEs are common when the body is ill or weak. That's out of body experience. But out of body experiences are common when the body is ill or weak. You'll hear breaking wood just preceding it.
I had one out of body experience way back when I was in my early 20s, and it just blew my mind. It's like you having kidney stones. You never forget the feeling and the sensations. I never had one since then. I had a nurse I interviewed that was with our disaster response group once. She died on the operating table. Actually went down the tunnel, met people on the other side. They told her it wasn't her time, and they gave her a choice, saying she could either stay there or come back. She said she wanted to stay so bad because of the love she felt. And then she thought of her two kids growing up without their mother. Next thing she knows, she's coming out of recovery. But she lost all fear of death because she knows there is an afterlife.
Well, and here's another thing I wanted to kind of throw this out there for us to answer is, how long do you think a spirit can linger in the afterlife? I mean, it doesn't seem like we've got spirits that are from, like the caveman days or something. So how long do you think a spirit can linger? Do you think there's a time frame, or?
I mean, in between actually getting to heaven or wherever our ultimate goal is,
Yeah,
and the material world. Well, considering supposedly outside the material world, there's no such thing as time or space. I think sure they can linger there forever.
yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure because it's weird because we don't seem to get ghosts. Like, I can't think of many times of running into ghosts that seem to be over, I would say, 300 years old.
Yeah.
I just can't seem to think of any. I
Well,
mean, I'm not saying that they don't exist. Some people claim to talk to certain kings or Egyptian princesses and stuff. Who knows? But I think
at some point they decide it's time to move on. Maybe their spirit guides are still assigned to them until they cross over completely. Maybe they kind of tap on the shoulder and say, "We need to have a talk." Either that, or if they're lingering over because of loved ones, they're so tight with that material family and their wives or daughters or whatever, they don't want to leave until they cross over. So maybe once the one or they're concerned with, once they cross over, they get to leave too.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely odd. Um, so, and since I kind of brought this up a little bit when I was talking about kings and whatever this and that, what do you think about? Are we hearing any of the spirits that we think they are? I mean, do you think that these are the, you know,
I never trust that.
Right. I mean, can you ever trust it?
I'm working on an article right now about a place here in Memphis called Dad's Place, and hopefully I'll get it done before the next issue of PU comes out. But
the case with Elvis.
It's what it is, Paranormal Underground. I write for them every once in a while. But the hotel owner wants to know if the entities that they've been seeing around the hotel in that establishment is the spirit of Elvis. And I told him, I said, no professional or experienced investigator is going to tell you it is or is not. There's just no, I could say possibly. That's about the best you're going to get. I said, we could have a spirit in there come in, dressed out in his Vegas jumpsuits and all that. Tell us he's Elvis, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's who he is.
Right.
Or, a lot of spirits don't like to contact you during an investigation because they don't know your agenda. Well, likewise, we don't know their agenda either. So we don't know why they're trying to contact us. I'm kind of leery of, cute little kids that want to have you as their friend and stuff like that.
Right.
My investigators, I say, 2 rules: don't use my energy, and I don't want to be your friend. Of course, the third rule is don't follow me home, but that's kind of a given.
You know, I kind of want to change the subject just a little bit. I still want to keep in with. 'Cause I like talking about some of this classic. This is just some good old fashioned paranormal ghost hunting talk. You know what I mean? We're not getting into too deep of stuff, but this is pretty deep. One thing I want to bring up is residual hauntings. I want to dig into that a little bit because often I hear people say, "Oh, this is residual," but I don't know how to think about that because first of all, to me, residual means that this is the exact same, like it's a recording in a loop. But the problem is that a lot of times the paranormal activity, it doesn't seem to be a carbon copy. There seems to be variations. So my question is there really residual haunting? Is there really residual? I mean, or is that just an easy way for us to an easy cop out on something?
I don't know. I lived in a house when I was, fifth grade, so I would have been 10 years old maybe. But we lived in a house that had a residual haunting. It was in a room, the studio, right next to where my bedroom was. It was an old house that they used to have up north where the front was a store, the upstairs was maybe another store or studio, and the whole back 2 stories was residential. Well, I slept in the bedroom where there was a dividing door between that and this old studio that we were forbidden to ever go in. And at night, on certain nights, whether it was a storm or whatever, I could hear this moaning and groaning, hear lights flickering underneath the doorway where I could see. And we found out that an old man had committed suicide in there, set himself on fire, and it would be the same moaning and groaning almost the same time, which scared the crap out of me as a 10-year-old. Then my mother finally found out because she asked a neighbor if somebody moved in up there because she thought it was my imagination. And the neighbor said, "Didn't you hear what happened there? Anything beyond that is not going to be good." You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well,
what happened? The photographer missed his wife so bad he tried to commit suicide. He tried to slit his wrist, didn't work. He set himself on fire, which was a real bad idea, and he shot himself because it hurt so bad, and he slowly died. That shot didn't kill him, and we could hear that over and over. We was there for a couple of months, and we could hear that. That to me, that was residual. Nothing changed at all. I lived in my 20s. I lived in an apartment that the cats and the dogs could track through the apartment and watch something as it walked through, like they were looking at a person.
Right.
That was residual. But in the same apartment, there was something that was interacting with me. At night, it would break things. It would breathe in my ears. If I tried to communicate with it, ask it to do something, it would do it. So, I mean, you can have a residual haunting, and maybe that energy that's in that place is so strong, draws intelligent spirits to the same location.
Yeah.
So because that could confuse you real quick then. You see a residual, and they're willing to talk to you. Well, it might not be the same spirits.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've noticed too is that sometimes you'll find something that seems to be residual, something repetitive, but then you'll also make intelligent contact with other spirits or other paranormal at that site. So that's why it makes it a little more confusing. But I just wanted to kind of dive into the residual stuff and kind of see what you thought about it. And again,
the age of spirits too. He was mentioned, some might be around 200-300 years. One of the things we try to consider when we get ready to do investigation, we try to get some background information. Is, has anyone ever been here before doing investigations? Anything that might indicate that it could be a person from a generation ago or 2 generations ago. Because you come in with all this new equipment, a lot of us have, because, I'm kind of equipment driven. You come in with all kinds of new equipment. That spirit might never seen that in its life. It doesn't know who you are. You just basically came into its house, as far as it's concerned, with stuff that they can't tell if you're going to harm them, what you're going to do with it. So sometimes If we go to some place, they said, no, you're the first investigators. We'll explain every last piece of equipment we got as we're setting it up, to explain how it works to whatever entities out there to try to loosen them up a bit. And we found out sometimes it takes 2 or 3 investigations before they're comfortable with it and start using it. K2 meters is a good example. We go to a place first time, we'll get some EVPs. K2s, nothing happens. Absolutely nothing. We'll go back a second time, we'll get maybe 1 or 2 hits on it. Third time, it's like it's lit up the whole night you're there. So sometimes it takes a while for those spirits to interact with you.
Right.
Depending on how long they've been around and how savvy they are. You go to some place like Waverly Hill Sanatorium, heck, they can probably tell you how to fix your machines if they're broken.
Yeah. No, I completely get it. ICUCB says, so she did have kind of a question. So she said, so residual spirit doesn't communicate. So Bob, I'll let you handle that.
Yeah, they don't communicate because they're not really there.
Right. Well, and that's how I feel is like with residual. So I see you see me. Residual means that it's a particular energy that it's like a recording that's stuck in a loop. It's something traumatic usually that happens or some type of event, and it's that residual energy that's now some people say that it can be based on sometimes like running water sources nearby can contribute to helping residual energy to stick around. Also, the different type of geology, different stones. Was it limestone? I think is a big one too. I think there's beds of limestone in the ground and things like that can help with residual energy, things like that. So yeah, that's so generally there's residual, intelligent. Some people like to say poltergeist, even though poltergeist technically is like a noisy ghost, but they sort of classify poltergeist as almost like a separate category. So you really got your residual, your intelligent, your poltergeist, and some other fourth thing. I'm losing my mind here. I don't know, but I think there was something else.
Well, I think that was because you invited me on your
show right now. But yeah, so that's typically what you'll find. The fourth thing was like demonic. So that's kind of like your 4 major classes that you'll when you go into a haunting. That's the 4 major topics: either intelligent, residual, poltergeist, or demonic. Now you can have multiple, but again, that's sort of the 4 major classes that seems to be the case.
Well, there's a place we're going to revisit now that the mayor let us get back into the place. Like coronavirus thing, he wouldn't let anybody in the community center and locked it up. One of the things that happened just before he locked it up, 2 different places in there, we got the voices of help us. Female voice in an auditorium and male voice getting towards the basement with us flowing water. So we're getting ready to go back there. But yeah, there's different things could be going on in a certain place. They have a lot of knocks and bangs go on. The fire department uses it for a fundraiser every year, for a haunted fundraiser. And we've been in there. In fact, I spent the night once listening to the bangs and knocks almost on command. You know, if it was random, we could pick up on that. But we had recorders going the entire night, and there was hardly anything going on. But when we asked questions, we get bangs and knocks on the doors and the walls and stuff like that. So we know there's something intelligent. The firemen see this little girl walking down the hallway more than once. She goes to the same room every time, so that's probably residual. The knocking probably is a poltergeist type activity. So we got 3 of the 4.
Yeah.
So you got to determine basically what is the dominant type of activity going on to put your game plan in for the next time you go.
Yeah.
At Dan's place, that's exactly what we're doing. We went in there when we told the general manager, look, we're going to come in on an initial interview. We ain't going to come up with much of anything. We'll do a review. We'll give you you've seen the review what we did to that place. I sent you a copy. But we tell them the first time we do an investigation, we're just kind of mapping out what's going on. It's like getting EVP readings, or not EVP, EMF readings,
Right.
where the activity is. We go in and see, will a spirit react more with the tapes? Will it react more with K2 meter? Will it show up on the SLS cameras? We figure out what's most likely way to communicate with to begin with, and figure out what kind of conditions we need to be in. If it only happens on a rainy night or something, then we'll have to go back the next time it's raining. So there's a lot of factors in those investigations. You got to think about the staging of it. Where are you going to set up? Where are you going to maximize your time? Because you're well aware that these investigations can end up taking 40 hours a week trying to go through and do the analysis of.
Now Stacy Tatalongo said, I don't know why I always feel like I have to clarify both names, I guess. But anyways, but Tata said, how many people do you bring to a location? So I'll answer that while you light your cigar. And then
let's do that.
And then you can answer.
See, I gotta smoke my cigars now. I quit smoking for 4 months, by the way.
Oh, nice.
And gained 20 pounds. So I figure extrapolating that out, by the time I die of lung cancer, I'm going to weigh 2 tons. So it wasn't worth it. So I went back to smoking, so I don't eat as much.
Yeah, I know. I almost think about. I haven't smoked in 10 years, and I'm like huge now. So I'm thinking about sparking one up. But anyways, so how many people do you bring?
Look at my picture. There's a rate here.
All right.
You don't smoke before or during the investigation. That's another no-no.
Let that be a good tip for you, folks. But yes, how many people do you bring to the location? Well, it depends what you're going to do. For me, it's just me. I do a lot of the solo stuff, like the first person views. That's what I've been doing lately. Now, I might take sometimes Terry Lynn, so it might be us, or sometimes we'll bring her son along, so it could be us 3. But I think when it comes to a team-wise, for me, it was always one is who wants to go, but also you want to bring people that usually you'll have like people that join your team to either intern, they want to kind of learn, so they go with you, and you kind of teach them from your experience, just what to do, how to act, those type of things. That's all you really teach them. They kind of learn a lot of the other stuff on their own theories, things like that. But you want to teach them kind of how to act and just the way investigations go. But also you got some people that you bring along that just are good assets to have because they've got knowledge of history and local history, things like that. But I'll let Bob give his side of things on this. Bob, what do you like to bring?
It's the same way. You look at your investigators like a resource. Some of my investigators, they're very, very sensitive to energies. They're not psychic, so to speak, but they can sense when you walk into a building like I can. As soon as you walk in, you know if it's going to be neutral, negative, or positive. So right. they have that.
That's what I like about bringing Terry Lynn when Terry Lynn goes with me on places, because she's like my main gauge. Because I have a gauge, but she's like a better gauge. So.
Well, one of the other things too, in some cases where we got maybe a child, 2 of our investigators are in their early 20s. They get a lot of interaction with energies, which I'm theorizing is because they're so full of energy. They're young, they got a lot of energy going. Heck, for me, I half the time I don't even participate in the investigations anymore. I've got all the toys, so I get invited every time, of course. But my part, most investigations now, because I've trained the people, they know what not to say and what to say. If they have a theory coming up, we'll discuss it right where we're there and figure out if we want to go a different route. But I usually sit with the people because you know how TV is. If you watch a paranormal show on television, 9 times out of 10, it's because something's going to kill you. It's out to get you. It's going to attach to you. And people get terrified of that. So when something starts happening in their house or in their business, somebody else will say, oh my God, that's probably a demon.
Right.
I spend a lot of my time after we get set up. I let the young ones go out and do the investigations. I sit with the client and try to calm them down and say, there's rational reasons. If there's something negative, I might not say too much, but if it's just a normal, some spirit saying, hey, we're here, we want to come see you. They just want the presence to be known. I'll tell the client that, here's what's going on. You can either live with it, we can try to get rid of it. If this happens or that happens, by all means, call us back. If it's something beyond our means, we already know it. We'll advise them to get another team out there that might. Well, a good example, you interviewed the people in Memphis there. And all they do basically psychic type stuff. They don't use a lot of equipment. They just use mediums. So if I'm in a situation where my equipment, I'm not getting any feedback, but we know stuff's going on, we'll suggest they use that group to come in and look at it from a totally spiritual aspect. So you have to look at all the resources you have available and then try to match them up with what's going on in the investigation. Plus, you don't want to have 10 investigators with you if you're working in a 900 square foot house.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yep. And then you got to also worry about the politics of it. You might have a team member that says, well, you invited them to the last three. You didn't invite me. What's wrong with me? Are you playing favorites? You got to deal with that. It's almost like being a supervisor on a job. So there's a lot going on that people don't see on an hour show on television.
Yeah. Well, and Stacy just brought up too. He said that in seance, if you've got 7 or more people, you can get spirits to move things physically with sound, singing. They transfer to physical manifestation.
Yeah, I've read that.
Yeah,
of course, the only ingredient is to get Jesus coming. He can do anything.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, in a seance, again, it depends on like if you do a seance or not. Like and I think just to Bob's point is it just depends on the situation. So like a seance, well, if you're investigating a trailer, you're probably not going to squeeze 7 people around the dining room table in there and do a seance, or in the living room or whatever. A lot of times, but just depends. But yeah, I mean that's cool. Like I've never participated. I'll be honest. Out of the entire all my career, I don't think I participated in a seance. I mean, seriously. I mean, I've seen some things. I've been around different investigations, but mostly it's because of just availability. There's not a lot of people I was around that I trusted to conduct a seance. I've been around people that could do it. I just never asked them to do it. And there was some of them I'm like, I don't really trust that person to conduct a seance, because you have to have trust in the people that are doing the investigations or people that are going to open these doors to the spirit world. You have to trust in those leaders, because if they don't know what they're doing, they're going to get you in a world of hurt. So that's my take.
Why I use equipment. I don't discredit the people with seances, because once again, spirits are going to appear the way they want to appear.
Right.
So you always got that consideration. But usually the people that we do investigations for, they don't want to hear some spirit feels this or feels that. It doesn't really tell them much. If I come back to a client and say, here's what I picked up on a recorder, here's what I picked up on video, here's some of the things that happens, and what you can do to stop it or log it down. Because one of the things I tell anybody on investigation, right after I can usually contact for about an hour, talk, find out how they feel. Are they religious? Are they not religious? How many other people's felt? The standard questions you'd ask.
Right.
And you get a feel for it. But then one of the things I'll ask them, if you can, please start a log of when this stuff happens. Is it the time of night, when it happened, who was around that might have possibly seen it other than yourself?
Okay.
So that when we get back there, we got some more to work with to figure out how to utilize the resources we have.
Well, let's see. I See You See Me brings up a question. It's kind of a almost 3-parter. So
that's not like a question I usually do.
Right? This is gonna be this could be a packed question, so this might even be one of the last ones. Unfortunately, guys, we'll probably have to have somewhat of a lighter show only because of our delay, and I do have to get to my other job tonight. So, but we will get Bob back on here again. Maybe we can work out the Crypt Keepers audio issues, and we'll have him on here properly.
See, I told you I looked a lot like him.
So I see you see me says, can a spirit be banished or killed, or only God can do that? Question mark. I'm thinking, and she also said, I'm thinking on a global scale. So
I don't think it's good.
Huh?
It's pure energy. Energy can't be destroyed. It can just be converted to something else. So I don't think it can kill a spirit, because basically it's close to what most people would describe as the soul. It can't be killed.
Right.
As far as getting banished, it probably could be. That's what priests do. If they're trying to get rid of something out of a house, it's negative. But you don't know if that's a demon or not. You can probably banish something like that. That's what holy water, sea salt, all those other weird things, sage. You can banish one, but I don't think you can destroy one.
Well, and I would say, for my side of this, I would say yes. I agree with Bob. I don't think you can kill a spirit. I don't think you can absolutely destroy a spirit or ghost, because again, it is energy, and because we don't know the type of energy specifically that ghosts are made of, there's no way to actually destroy that energy. But banishment wise, yes, I do believe you can. I guess, do we have the power to send them to hell? No, but we do have the power to banish them from our surroundings. We can. We have a lot of power. We have more power than people realize. On a global scale, I wanted to add, because you said you were thinking on a global scale. The one thing I want to add to this is I believe in intent. Okay, so on a global scale, the entire world is not going to all be, say, Christian or Muslim faith or Buddha faith, or any. There's going to be a combination of, or one or the other. There's different faiths. So what might work for one faith may not work in another faith, obviously. But I do believe in intent. So I think even people in other faiths, if their intent is to banish a spirit from their immediate area, or demon or jinn, whatever they want to call it, I believe that their intent can do those things if their intent is powerful enough. They really have to believe in their intent, though. They can't just say it. A lot of times you can't just wish something away. You have to believe that you can intend it away. So that's what I think. I mean, I really do believe in intent.
Yeah.
Bob, you want to add any other things to that?
No, I was just thinking about, the Bible talks about Armageddon, when somebody's going to try to kill or get rid of spirits. That's kind of basically what that's going to be.
Well,
that's a Christian version of the Bible for when Armageddon's hit. I'm sure the Islamic and Jewish has their own. But I wonder, for the Christian Armageddon, is it only going to get evil Christian spirits versus Islamic spirits? It's bad as well.
Well,
my mind's wandering. I'm getting old. I'm getting tired. No. By the way, I see me and some of those other folks out there I see in the chat all the time. They're pretty knowledgeable. You ought to just have a show where you bring one of them on every once in a while so they can chit chat with you.
Well, some people don't like being on video, but there is something that I am working on, and I don't want to throw you on the spot on here. I'm gonna send you something, and I got something going toward Stacy's way and things. You'll understand. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But there is something else I thought would be really cool for us to do. So we'll talk about it later, for sure. But folks, as we near the end here, if you guys have any last minute stuff here, we got a few more minutes. And again, guys, I apologize for our delay today. Again, technical difficulties. We didn't anticipate it, and it took longer than we thought to try to come up with a solution. So, like I said, me and Bob will get together. We'll try to work something out. Or maybe you guys can fundraise and get him another laptop or something. Something must be going on because he has audio problems.
My laptop's top of the line.
Terry Lynn says, "Tell Avon I said he looks amazing," and then she said, "Bob."
Oh no. Like I said, the whole reason that I talked about Script Keeper. I belonged to a paranormal group before. I was a member.
Right.
And they told me at Christmas they didn't want me to be a member anymore because I was too old looking to look good on TV.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And now look at you. Now you're like a superstar, and they're probably not even famous at all.
Nah. I just enjoy what I do and write for the magazine. So you can listen to what I've talked about.
Yeah, and I think we should probably spend now. The crappy thing is, wait, let's see. Maybe there's another way I can do this. Hold on. What if this? Let me see something. I had something earlier when we had problems.
Yeah.
I had something all queued up, ready to go for us. Let's see here. Oh, crap. I lost you, Bob. Hold on. There we go. Got you back. All right. Well, I guess it's not going to work because we're doing that. I don't want to lose you on there. So, folks, I was going to have Bob and I originally. What I planned on, Bob, was I had paranormalunderground.net pulled up, and I was going to bring it on the screen, and both of us was going to be able to, off to the side. But we'll work all that out another time.
Yeah, it's a good magazine. I like it.
But yeah, I just wanted to take a quick moment since you are a regular writer, a contributor to this magazine, and of course they sponsor my show, and you guys can see my ad in the Paranormal Underground magazine each episode. So I love it. I think it's a great magazine. I can't talk enough about it. Folks, if you love paranormal, go to Paranormal Underground magazine. It's paranormalunderground.net, and just tell them I sent you. Hell, tell them Bob Fountain sent you. You'll get a free year. It'll come to you in your email on the first of every month, and they're pretty. I mean, Bob, wouldn't you say they're pretty religious about first of the month, aren't they?
Well, yeah, because I gave Cheryl a hard time once. In fact, I had to write a poem of apology because I said there's no way she could ever get a magazine out by the 15th of the month, and she did it.
Right.
So she had me on their show they used to have long ago,
Right.
and I had to write a poem and apologize to her. So yeah, she's late. I'm all over her.
Right. Well, so far since I've had it, I can't think of a time it came in late. I mean, it's been on the first.
You know what's funny about that? In high school, that's a long time ago. That's when they had sailing ships. But I failed all my English courses. I couldn't write worth a damn. Oh, I can't say damn again. Worth a darn. But and getting up and speaking in front of people, I take a whole grade reduction before I do that. And look what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So it goes back to intent, right?
Yeah, I think probably one of the number one reasons why I quit going to college the one time, and every time I go to do any kind of college stuff, one of the number one things that I cannot stand is English classes. I cannot stand taking English, but yet I wrote a book.
I know how that works. My English instructor, when I went to college, finally went. I've been out of the Navy by then, but she was the dean of the English department. And talk about something that was tough to work with. That was horrible. But I aced college, so I guess I did pretty good on it.
Yeah. I mean, that's all that matters. So, so Terry Lynn said, yeah, she didn't mean to call you Avon. Stupid phone. And
that's what he's called me a boob before, so.
So I see me said it's hard to ask my questions without being political. Laugh out loud. And Terry Lynn said, "Don't worry about political. We are all
we don't care.
yeah, we're all family here, hon." She said, "Just ask." So if
There
you
you
have
go.
any other questions, like I said, now's the chance to get any last minute questions in, and they can be. They don't have to. Don't worry about politically correct. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about any of that stuff. Folks. That's one thing I always try to be straightforward with people is seek the truth, and because beyond that, and my philosophy is, you know, I am who I am, you are who you are, and I go by the golden rule. I treat others how I want to be treated. So if you're an a-hole, I'm going to treat you like an a-hole back. Other than that, I don't really care what you do with your life, whether you're gay, black, it don't matter if you're minority, like I said, or anything. It don't matter. I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. Me, I just say, hey, if you're cool, you're cool. If you're a hole, you're an a hole. I mean, that's just how I am. So,
and see, Josh can tell you I'm on my best behavior.
Yeah. And some people, sometimes I have friends that are a-holes and I like that about them. So, sometimes that's the case, you know. But Bob,
I usually know how to deal with that.
if you could go back in time for a day and be a ghost, when would it be?
I knew he was going to ask me that. I had it in the back of my mind. It would probably be when Christ was stuck on the cross.
Really? Okay.
I'm not that religious, by the way. I'm spiritual. Religion, I've known people that they're Bible thumpers. They're the most corrupt people I've ever met in my life. So, religion is just basically it's a formalized form of rituals that expand out to the point where it controls your whole life. Spiritual wise, I know there's a God. I know there's a creator. I know there's things that we can't see. It's out there. So, but seeing Christ go through that crucifixion would be life changing for everybody. If you were there now and you saw that happen, I would think you'd never worry about the afterlife. Because he died for what they said he died for.
Yeah. It almost would make me want to be there, maybe not so much even just for the cross, but even the day of resurrection.
That is even cooler.
I think to see him cheat death. And that was the thing that really finally convinced his followers and his disciples that he truly was the Son of God and all that. So I think that could be an interesting day as well.
I'm gonna kill the best behavior thing here now. You know what would happen if you would have came out of the cave where they had him buried on Easter Sunday? If he saw his shadow, we would have had 6 more weeks of winter. I'm going to hell, aren't I?
Yeah. I know. Now you're taking us all with you. Thanks.
Well, that way now anybody who's out there in chat room who's worried about what they can ask knows there's no limits.
Yeah. We have no couth here, folks. So, but no, I mean, like I said, if you guys do have questions, I mean, I always try to answer them as honestly as I can. We don't really talk politics per se here, because that's politics. We talk paranormal. If you guys want to talk politics, we have other means for that, but for as far as politically correct, again, like you can see, we just say it how it is. We just say how we feel. Again, it really is. Everybody has their own take, their own beliefs, and I try to respect all those things. Just like Bob knows, I'm more toward Jesus Christ and God. I know that Bob's a little more in the middle sometimes. Stacy Touch, who comes on the show, he's very much about the universe and the system in that way, and it is sort of a different structure, and everybody has their own worldly views or universal views and or universe views, and I always respect those because I think it's cool. I really like to hear the different takes and the different angles and all that stuff. I think it's cool, and it doesn't make me get butthurt. So,
Yeah.
there's no
Well,
reason for it.
and everybody's their upbringing, their culture, all plays a factor into their lives, or how many lives you had before. I mean, let's say you lived as a female 4 lives before you got here. All of a sudden, you come back as a male, and males are still attracted to you. Welcome to the homosexual world, if that's the case.
So I mean, there you go, Bob. You just taught us all everything we need to know about homosexuality. See, folks, it's about reincarnation. That's the truth behind homosexuality.
I'm a firm believer in reincarnation. When my daughter was young, she could barely speak. She used to come up to us and tell us we weren't her real parents, that she died in a fire. That was at 3.5 years old. And when we go past the house that had burnt, she'd say, "Look, that's like the house I died in." Freaked out the wife at the time, but I understood what she was talking about. She just came back and remembered something she shouldn't have.
Right.
So, yeah, so when something like that happens to you, you can do these investigations all you want or watch TV all you want. But once something comes up and yanks your hair or does something to you that scares the crap out of you, or you see something like a person die and come back, it changes your whole worldview. Yeah. Everything you believed in could possibly be altered just by one act like that.
Yeah. And, I think that I honestly believe that you almost have to be in tune with the paranormal frequencies in order to experience stuff. What I mean by that is, I think that there's people that go around and like, come on, do something to me, come on, and they constantly are talking smack. They're trash talking spirits, and nothing ever happens to them. They don't experience anything, and they're like, see, and they go around. But I also think again, they're not able to receive that, because again, I think that's just part of the frequencies too. Once they are unaware, some people they'll have an awakening. They'll taunt and make fun of the afterlife for a long time, and then all of a sudden one day they'll forget all about it, and their guard will be down, and it'll hit them, and karma will come back around, and they'll be like, "Man, I used to never believe." And
yeah, how it's going to be fun when Colonel Saunders died. If he got to the pearly gates, the guy was dressed up like a chicken.
Yeah, Terry Lynn said she's. Terry Lynn said, "Me too, Bob. Completely believe in reincarnation. I knew a little bit about my past life." And ICUCB says, "I wish I could remember Terry." But yeah, she said
that'd be another show for you.
Yeah.
All your listeners, we're going to have a show. If you got remembrances or certain things you can relate to on a past life, bring them to this show. That way I wouldn't have to type out in the chat room anymore. I just sit back and to everybody else.
Yeah, we'll have to look at tackling a couple things. I think Stacy brought up the near-death experiences. In fact, I need to write this down before I start forgetting. So we need to get a show about NDEs and also reincarnation, just talking about past lives and things like that. I think that'd be cool. And maybe we can I can talk about Terry Lynn's reincarnation stuff, or I can let her, or she can get on here somehow. But yeah, so the NDEs and reincarnations.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I could put some comments in there. I do talk a little bit in chat. By the way, everybody that's out there, at least now you know what the heck I look like.
Well, you were on the show a few times before, but it's been a while, so
yeah. But 5 minutes into, you go, "Who is this clown?" And then they go away. I am easily amused.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be. If you're doing paranormal investigations, if you're dead serious about stuff, I think you're going to end up in trouble, because whatever kind of energy you project out, you're going to get back at you. So I go into these things usually laughing as I'm walking up to the house I'm getting ready to do an investigation on.
Yeah. Well, that's why you investigated Clown House then.
There you go. And just don't trip over the shoes.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Bob, I want to say thank you for coming on and co-hosting with me today, and just talking about some good old-fashioned paranormal talk. I really wanted to just really talk about the afterlife, and I think we had some great talk about it, and even something about the residual energy. Those were some of my couple thoughts that I had going into today. So I always like to talk them out with people and folks on the show. So
Hopefully it didn't suck too
Terry
bad.
Lynn's making fun of me because I missed your joke. She's like, "Way to pay attention." So, but I'm like focusing on like 4 things here, honey. So, be kind to me. I'm the host, and I'm trying to do like 5 things here, especially now that we've had a little bit of technical problems today. But
yeah, that's the other thing. I still been waiting for Terry Lynn's website to show up, or her to sit next to you out there on your show, so she can deal with some of that stuff, so you can focus more on talking to everybody. Where is she?
Well, she's like the behind the scenes kind of person. She doesn't like being on camera. So
I'm well aware of that, but neither do I.
I know, but we'll get her. I actually got the studio now where I have a place that literally I have another camera, another place that she can sit, and we can have her on the screen. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to we'll work something out one of these days. Maybe.
Do you remember way back the show called The Gong Show?
The Gong Show. Wow,
comic.
You're bringing it up, man. You're bringing up the oldies there. The Gong Show.
They had The Gong Show, and they had a guy called the Unknown Comic. He had a paper bag with 2 holes coming in it.
Right.
Everyone could sit there next to you with a paper bag in her hand. Nobody's here, but she could do what she has to do. And now I'm on her shit list, right?
Look, the paper bag paranormal.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, folks. Well, Bob, again, thank you for showing up tonight, folks. It was a great show. I really appreciate everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And next week, stay tuned. We'll have somebody special on. Who knows? Maybe we'll do something special. Maybe we'll get Bob back on here for something too soon, once we can work out the audio issues and get his Crypt Keeper laptop going again, to where we can get some audio from him correctly instead of through speakerphone.
I messed up Cheryl Knight with that once. They had the talk show on. They had a few years back, and I was going to be one of the co-hosts because Karen Frazier was sick that day, so they had me come in as the co-host. Well, Cheryl's sitting there trying to hook up all the links like you were tonight, and I had a picture just like that of Karen Frazier. And I was in front of the screen, and Cheryl says, "Something's not working right." She says, "I'm trying to get you on here, and all I'm seeing is Karen Frazier on here. Something's going wrong." And Chuck, the other co-host, he was on there saying, "It's not on my end." So finally I had to put it down and talk to him. They called me some bad names.
All right. Well, you all take it easy and have a good night. And remember, folks, seek the truth.
There you go.
You have a good night.